Ladies and gentlemen, the man I'm about to introduce doesn't really need an introduction. So let's just bring him out. It's my great pleasure, Mr. David Yost. Come on, y'all, come on. There we go. Oh, yeah. Adam Baldwin was holding on to that when I was talking to him earlier. First of all, sir, hello. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here at Comic-Con. How's it been treating you so far?
It's been good, except for the humidity.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's been great.
That's Texas for you. The heat in some way, shape, or form will get you. If it's the humidity here or the dry heat further north you get. I'm from San Antonio, so it's always hot. So let's just jump right into it. The 30th anniversary was last year. How does it feel knowing that the franchise has thrived this long?
Well, first it makes me feel old. So 30 years, like, it's hard to comprehend that it's been that long because it really doesn't feel like I'm even 30 years old. But so that's pretty interesting in itself. But just to know that the franchise has continued to be as popular as it has been, at least for the original cast, has been extremely humbling and a huge honor. And obviously I'm grateful to everybody that's sitting in this audience because I do not take it lightly, because I'm very clear, without any of you, I certainly would not be the person that I am. So I'm totally indebted to you all. So I thank you for keeping the franchise of Power Rangers alive and well. Many of you, were young kids when you first found Power Rangers. But now you have kids, and you've introduced your kids, so you're like, super parents. And I appreciate that you've got your kids into the original cast and the original series. It's certainly a huge honor, and it's been an amazing ride for all of us. So, grateful.
It's fantastic. Yeah, go ahead, clap for that. There we go. Yeah, I like that.
Let it out.
So, and you mentioned it a little bit. How does it feel to know that you've had so many different casts of Power Rangers? I mean, and all great actors left and right, done great with the series. But that core cast, your original 5 and 6, the late great Jason David Frank, that's who people still talk about, who they still remember. That was where I jumped in. I was a kid when the first premiered. I've been watching it ever since. How does it feel knowing that no matter what, that original cast, people still love to see you guys?
Again, it's super humbling. I just think with the original cast, we just had such an amazing chemistry, and it's always interesting when I look back to think about how we all came together in terms of the auditioning process, because there was a different Yellow Ranger when we filmed the pilot, and then Thuy came in, and Thuy just added such an amazing softness to the cast. And then Jason David Frank came in and ruined everything. And, I'm teasing. But he came in and we just all had, the 6 of us, we had this amazing chemistry together. We were like brothers and sisters. And just getting to film the whole first season, we did like essentially 60 episodes, was awesome because it was all of our first TV series. And so we were real innocent and naive at the same time. And so we were just having a good time. And so I think that really translated a lot in those original episodes. And I think that's why so many people resonate with it so much. And I think that's why it was so popular back in the 90s when your parents were beating each other up at the toy store around Christmas time trying to get toys for you guys. It was pretty wild and crazy.
True story. My sister got me a dragon dagger for my birthday, and all of my family were mad at her because no one else could find it. She was the only one who could find it for my birthday that year.
Wow, that's awesome.
And she's kind of my favorite sister anyway. So, so as a kid, being a black kid, of course, I gravitated to Zach. It was cool to see black, but I really was more of a nerd growing up. I still am, and I was a geek. I got the A/B honor roll, straight A's, and everything. So I really, in terms of being a nerd, gravitated towards Billy in that way because it was cool to see yes, he was still smart, but he could still fight. He could still hold his own. How did it feel knowing, like, especially for like, you know, geeks and like the straight students like me, you were still the superhero who could get the straight A's and still be a superhero at the same time? Or have you ever heard that before? Like people say that?
Oh no, I definitely hear that a lot, and obviously it's a huge honor for me. I'm so happy I ended up getting to play Billy because, you know, for me, Billy grew so much over his time on the 200 episodes that I've done and beyond. You know, so he started off, you know, like really unsure of himself, not having a lot of confidence, didn't know martial arts, and then you got to see Billy grow, and I think that was pretty awesome. And by seeing Billy grow, I hear a lot of people say, well, you know, I saw Billy taking martial arts on TV, and so since he was taking martial arts, I got into martial arts. So I love that, and they were like, as you're saying, smart or the nerdy ones, or they felt like they got picked on, and so I'm just honored that the character that I played gave a lot of people inspiration, if not courage and confidence to go out and try something that they might not have ever tried. So, and to show that it's okay to be smart, and it's okay to use your muscles, you know, so bronze and brain.
Absolutely, absolutely. I even did take martial arts for about a year, and I did gymnastics for about a year, which I learned that you actually did. I didn't know that until recently, and I was thinking, am I Billy? That's cool to me if I'm Billy, because I'll happily get up over in scriptures or tops like I need a reason.
Yeah, Amy Jo and I were competitive gymnasts when we were young in our lives, so yeah, I mean that certainly helped us get our roles in the series. Yeah,
that's so awesome. So going to the character of Billy, just like I said, one of my favorite characters, not just in Power Rangers, but in pretty much anything. How did Affirmative become that catchphrase for you? Was that something you guys workshopped, or did you say it one day, or?
I don't think it was ever workshopped. No, the writers, I don't know. I guess it might have been in the original pilot even. It was just always a word that they threw in there for Billy. Instead of saying yes or I agree, he would always say affirmative. So it was just always there. I didn't fight it. There were often scripts where it seemed like I was saying affirmative on every page, and I would cut a lot of those out. You know, 1 or 2 an episode is more than enough, but when you're saying it 20 times, it's a little ridiculous.
Kind of wear on you a little bit, so.
Yeah, just like I wore overalls for 60 episodes, and I don't ever care to wear overalls again in my life. Poor Billy. I had a fight to get him out of overalls.
It's funny the things that I never noticed as a kid, and that I noticed growing up, especially after hearing, like, seeing interviews with you over how you mentioned the overalls before, and then I go back, oh, I don't look kind of weird, but it's just, was that, I read that was like, just to make him look more nerdy, was the overalls?
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to make somebody look nerdy, but it was also, in the early 90s, sort of the trend was baggier clothes, and so that was part of the baggy clothes part of it, but yeah, it was also to cover up my body, so that I didn't look muscular as much, you know, so, but yeah, they wanted Billy in overalls in every episode, so I was always excited when there was a different script, and Billy got to do something else and I didn't have to wear overalls.
So, thank God a non-overalls episode, I can't wait. Fast forwarding to Once and Always, which I can confirm was an emotional ride for me watching it, especially at the end. What was it like getting the call, knowing that they were going to ask you to come do that, and then what was the filming process of that like?
Well, I was happy to know that Hasbro wanted to put some effort into making a 30th anniversary special, so that was great, and it took a lot of work to get it to where it was. So, you know, it was a lot of fun for Walter and I to get to go back and reprise our roles, seeing how we started the franchise, and then 30 years later, we're filming this thing. So he and I had a lot of fun getting to do that. So, yeah, it was fun. I mean, a lot of things happened that weren't necessarily supposed to happen. Like, we weren't really supposed to be in our blue and black Ranger uniforms, per se, but somewhere in the script, because they had everything with the helmet people, and I said, well, you know, it would be nice if we could show emotion if, you know, we took our helmets off and all that. And they said, yeah, we can shoot that. We'll just shoot it from up here and up. But then it turned into this whole day, and it wasn't just here, it was like everywhere. So, and then it was really frustrating for me because Walter, when he takes off his helmet, he looks perfect. And Billy's like, his hair is a disaster, and he has a cut across his face, and I'm like, how does that work out? That Walter looks perfect and I look all beat up. But so there's all these pictures of me on the internet where I'm just like, oh yeah, Hasbro didn't have my back that day.
Well, I know it was emotional for the fans when you guys were filming it, especially with JDS passing not too far back. Was it ever like super emotional for you in particular, like just going over the scenes or anything?
No, I mean Jason. When we filmed it, Jason hadn't passed away yet. So when I was filming Cosmic Fury, is when we lost him, and you know, I wasn't really emotional about it until we had a screening of Once and Always, and so when I was at the screening, I think it was really difficult for all of us when the final scenes come up, and you know, with the dedication to Thuy and to Jason. So that's probably when it was the hardest, I think, for all of us.
When it comes to Cosmic Fury, how did that conversation come about where Billy would come back? I mean, I'm not complaining. Anytime Billy is in Power Rangers, I'm like, yes, do that, make that happen. But how did that come about with that conversation, you coming back for Cosmic Fury?
Well, I mean, they had approached me, I guess it was probably in 2020, to come back to Cosmic Fury. So even before Once and Always was a thing, I was already in discussions with them about coming back for Cosmic Fury. And that's when the Power Ranger franchise was still on Nickelodeon. So we were actually talking about 22 episodes. And then everything changed and we went to Netflix, and then so it cut down to 10 episodes. So I was in conversation with them for a good year and a half about coming back before I came back. And so that's all. They had approached me. That's all.
Awesome. So we do have a microphone here, so if you guys have any questions, if you want to start lining up right here at the microphone, we're gonna get your questions as soon as we can. I have a couple more while you guys do that, so if you want to start lining up, you're more than welcome to. First come, first serve.
And don't be shy.
Yeah, not at all, please. For Cosmic Fury, you really did have a mentor, leadership role. Is that something you would like to see more of? Like, I'm still hoping for more Power Rangers content. I know it's 30 years. I don't care. Keep making it. Would you like to see Billy in a more Zordon-esque role, like where he's leading and commanding his own team of Rangers?
I mean, I'm certainly open to it. I mean, again, the way that, in a lot of ways, the way that Once and Always came about is because I was pitching a television series that I had written called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Quantum Continuum, which was my version of a 30th anniversary bringing the original cast back together. And so I had been in discussions with Hasbro about that. So, you know, I would like to see a more adult version of Power Rangers, so people in their 20s and 30s, and you guys, some of you are in your 40s now, it's crazy.
Almost.
Makes me feel really old. You know, that you guys would resonate with. So still the Power Rangers, but more adults, you know, harder things to deal with in terms of emotions and stuff like that. We got a little bit of hint of that in Once and Always, but I would still like to take it farther.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the closest we probably come to that in a while was Once and Always, with them actually addressing Trinity's passing in a different way.
Correct.
Yeah, and before we get to all these questions, filming that in particular, I know it's been some time since she's passed, may she rest in peace, but like putting it to screen and with you and Walter, was everyone okay doing that? Was that hard to get through, like putting it into words?
I think it was okay to film. I guess for me, I was always on the fence about whether or not the Power Rangers should pass in a Power Ranger costume. So I still struggle with that. So that's the first time that we've seen that. So, and what makes this, that moment, just Rita's staff, energy coming from it, you know? So I don't know. But I wouldn't say that it was difficult. But yeah, there's certainly between Walter and I, especially because we worked with Thuy, and we've never really addressed a character passing before. was an interesting day. But I wouldn't say it was super difficult by any means.
Yeah. Either way, it was still brilliantly done. Especially, it was fantastic. I rewatched it a couple times, but even still, that ending gets me every time.
Okay.
So let's go to audience questions. Can you state your name and your question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Nancy, and I got a question. What is your best memory you had with JDF on screen or behind the screen? Anyway, thank you.
Well, how much time do you have?
I don't know about 20 minutes or so.
I don't know that I have a lot of great memories with JDF. I'm just teasing you guys. No, he was just, I always say he was the wild child of the bunch. He was always getting in trouble, you know? But he got away with it, which was not fair. So if any of the other members of the cast did half the stuff that he did, we would probably be fired. But Jason was just like a rebel rouser. I mean, I have a lot of memories with him. One of the ones that I tell often now is that when we were in Australia filming the movie, one of the things that he did is he and I went back to my hotel room and we were down in, I don't know if you remember the scene where we meet Dulcia for the first time and it's on this ocean and there's all these cliffs. So it's a city called Kiama in Australia. And we're staying at a motel more like, and we were on the second floor. And I walked out on my balcony and he shut my door behind me and locked me on my balcony and then left my room. And I was like, I don't know what to do. So I thought he would come back and he was gonna let me in, but he didn't come back. So after about an hour, I was like, I have to jump. I have to jump down. And so I'm hanging off the edge of my balcony and I get down to the bottom of my balcony, and I'm like, oh my God, it's still too far. If I jump and I break my leg, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. What do I do? And I'm hanging. So then I climb back up on the balcony, and after about another hour, he came back and let me in my room. So that's what I'm saying, like he was always a troublemaker. So I should hate him, I really should, but I don't. And so, I don't know, he and I were best friends for a long time, and we did a lot together. I used to babysit his children from his first wife, Jacob and Hunter. I would take care of them all the time so he and his other wife could go out and on dates and stuff like that. So he likes to tell a story that I killed his dog, which isn't true. He and his family had gone to Hawaii, and he said they asked me to watch their puppy, brand new puppy, and I said, yeah, of course. And the day that they left, I went to check on the puppy, and the puppy was dead in the garage. And I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like, that was crazy. So I had an autopsy done on the dog, because I knew he was gonna like blame me. And it turns out that they had a pest control person come, because they had gophers in their yard, and the pest control person had put all this gopher poison all over, and the puppy had eaten it, and it unfortunately, killed the puppy. But he loves to tell people. He used to tell people, oh yeah, he killed my dog. Those are just some of the fun tidbits that Jason did with Frank.
It was revenge for the balcony thing.
Yeah, that's right. So, does that answer some of your questions? Yeah. Oh.
Sorry for clumsy. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
My name is Anthony, and my question is, how did it feel to go from just a TV show to see yourself at the box office and being able to tell your friends, bragging a little like, hey, I'm on there, come save me?
That's a good
You're
question.
talking about the 1995 movie?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty exciting for all of us. Power Rangers became such a global success, and that a studio like 20th Century Fox back in the day wanted to turn it into a movie. So we were all excited about that, and we got to go to Australia, and most of us had never really been out of the country before, so that was exciting, and we got to live there. It was only supposed to be for 3 months, but it turned into 6 months. Yeah, it was really cool, and just we had a bigger budget, and the sets were amazing to get to film and work on, and so there's a lot of pride, I guess, for all of us when the film finally came out and it was edited, and we could tell people, oh yeah, if you want to go see me, I'm at the movie theater down the street. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Tim. I wanted to ask about stunt work. Like, how much of your stunt work did you do yourself? And is there a particular stunt that you stands out in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Jason David Frank or Austin St. John, I like to tell people, oh yeah, we did all of our stunts. That's what they like to tell people. But no, we always did our stunts when you saw us as human beings. So when the putties would show up, that's always the first fight. That was always us doing our stunts in those fights. In terms of costumes with the helmets on, it was always a stunt double. The first season was mostly Japanese footage, so it was actually from a whole different TV show, and then they started filming all of our stunts in the US. So anytime you see a helmet, it's always a stunt double. Sorry to ruin the magic for a lot of you. Doesn't mean that we're not capable of doing a lot of our stunts, because we all were, you know, Austin and Jason obviously were amazing martial artists. And Walter, an amazing dancer. Thuy was a martial artist. Amy Jo and I, gymnasts. I mean, you see Amy Jo and I in the movie, flipping, all that kind of stuff. I will say, like, one of the one of the most fun stunts for me to do was in the movie, and we were fighting the Tengu birds, and again, where we met Dulcia, Kayama, had to jump on a trampoline and they had a bird flying at me on wires. So I had to jump on the trampoline and do a flip through the wires, which is like this big, not very wide, like somebody's shoulder. So, you know, just to hit that precisely was kind of difficult, but it was a lot of fun to film that. And then there was literally a rock in front of me, so I had to, like, what we call stick it. Otherwise I'd bash my face into the rock. I don't know why they chose that specific location, but I think it was so they could drop the bird or something like that. So that was one of the more fun stunts for me to do. Does that sort of answer your question?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Was there an occasion where you didn't land it and you got hurt during any of this?
Can you come closer to the mic?
Yeah, was there an occasion where you didn't land it and you actually did wind up getting hurt during your stunt work?
I never got hurt during doing stunts. I don't really think any of us did. Now, we often injured our stunt people. So I'm not going to say who did this, but again, this goes to the movie, I guess, too. But one of our stunt guys had a nose ring, and back in the 90s, we always used to wear Doc Martens. So they're very heavy, and sometimes they have steel toes on them. And somebody accidentally kicked the stunt person in the nose, and it ripped the nose ring out. So that was fun. So yeah, I don't think any of the actors got injured, but I will say some of the stunt people did get injured. Again, Jason David Frank, very powerful kicker. His legs were powerful. You know, and there's a lot of testosterone flying around on the set. And you know, the stunt guys are like, oh yeah, I can take your kick. And Jason's like, oh really? Okay, come over here. And I mean, one time he kicked one of our stunt guys so hard in the stomach, like threw him across the room, and the guy couldn't breathe for a while. So again, if anybody else had done that, they'd be fired, but not Jason. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
There is a Power Rangers stunt people tell-all book that just hasn't been written yet, and I am waiting for the day that comes out.
It's coming out though.
Hi.
Hello, David Yost.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Christopher and Cooper, we met you earlier.
Yes.
Yes, room. And I want to thank you for being a hero to both of my children, my son and my 15-year-old daughter who grew up with the Power Rangers as well. I'm just a little bit younger than you, and so I kind of missed that boat, but I've tuned into it with my children throughout these years, and it's just been fun. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I have a question, a couple of questions that might go back to things that you've already addressed. You talked about being a gymnast, and I know that you were very successful in your youth, and that's what helped you get to where you are today. And you answered questions, you know, about your stunt work and on all of that just now. But what was it like first going into the Power Rangers franchise with Saban? Maybe one of my questions is, what was your relationship with him? And then secondly, did you do a character study, and how could you describe that character study of the Super Sentai, the original Japanese martial art superheroes that came before Power Rangers?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the latter part of your question, Super Sentai wise, we didn't really know a lot about Super Sentai. I don't think any of us watched it prior to filming Power Rangers. After we had filmed the first season, they showed us a couple episodes of Super Sentai, and we were like, wow, this is totally different than our show. It's really dark and kind of crazy. So I was like, to me, I was like, how did Haim Saban, he was sitting in his room in Japan, I guess, and he saw this show and thought, oh, I can make this into an American show. And how it became a kid's show is beyond me. So good for him for being able to think about that. So yeah, I would say none of us really had watched that. We didn't use Super Sentai as a character study, other than there were times where they wanted us to match whatever the Sentai move was, you know, certain poses they would want us to do to make it look cohesive. So, I mean, that would be the only thing. And that, I would say, that was sort of rare on occasion that we had to do that. In terms of our relationship with Mr. Saban, I wouldn't say it's great. I certainly don't understand people. First, let me say a good part about Haim Saban. When we were filming season 1, he came to set and he was all excited because his son was 5 years old, and it was his first time, he's Jewish, and it was his first time that he was going to get to take his son to one of their religious holidays. And I was like, wow, it was really heartwarming to see how excited Mr. Saban was about getting to do that with his son. So, you know, I always hold that memory of him in my head, because I get very angry at him. Because he's worth $4 billion because of the blood, sweat, and tears of the original cast. And we literally, Amy Jo and I were almost set on fire. I was electrocuted. We went through so much. And, you know, had he done things right, he might only be worth $3 billion instead of $4 billion. So I struggle with greed. And so, and he could have changed. You know, I just think if you want to live in the world and you want to be a good person, you want to lift people up with you. And I wish he would have been somebody that wants to lift people up, because he didn't. And often we would hear, if you don't like it, you can be replaced. It's not about you. The kids don't like you. They like the color. They like the dinosaur. I can replace you with anybody, and it doesn't matter. That's sort of the working environment that we were often in. And so when you hear things like that, it's kind of frustrating, and you feel kind of trapped. And I would hope that none of us would want to be that type of person in the world, you know? You should be like, thank you. He should have been saying thank you to all of us. I'm so proud of you. What can we do together? But he just wasn't ever like that, unfortunately. So,
I think you got it wrong when we're all here today.
I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now I'm angry at him. I was like, the kids don't like you. He's like, first of all, sir, how dare you?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty outrageous to hear those things in the 90s, you know. It's like, wow, I just, my brain doesn't compute like that at all. Like, I just could never imagine that kind of an attitude towards people. So, but we did hear that a lot. If you don't like it, you can be replaced. That was a standard line.
It really sounds like all of you put in your own creativity to create something new and fresh, and that's exactly what it's been able to live up to the last 30 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate your question.
And before the next question, I was going to say, like, I can't even follow that logic to begin with, because in the 90s, it seemed like that's when characters was really starting to take off. And you guys, you know, and yeah, we like the colors and the swords and everything, but the characters we were drawn to. I was drawn to Zach and Billy. I tell everyone this, my first crush was Streeting. I know everyone says, oh, Kimberly was my first crush. I just walked a different path, I guess, because Streeting was mine. So I just can't fathom you being told that by someone. Either way, I think we can all say thank you for sticking with it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think he took a gamble with Austin and Walter and Thuy leaving, and it really did. No offense to Johnny, Karen, and Steve, because they're all great people, but it really changed the dynamic of the show. And, you know, I often hear, you know, like, I was so excited to go see the movie, and then there's 3 characters. I was like, wait, who are these people, you know? And so it was confusing for, I think, a lot of kids, too. from that moment, you kind of feel the hype slowly, trickle away. But still, I'm again honored and humbled to be part of the original cast because we're still here.
Absolutely. Yep. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
How you doing? My name's Raymond. My wife and I saw you at Comic-Con in Houston with Walter. We got an autograph from you. How's your relationship with the original cast members now? Do y'all still communicate? Do y'all still do other events together besides the movie? Like, how's y'all's relationship and communication?
Yeah, I mean, next weekend I'll be at a Comic-Con with Amy and with Walter. The three of us will be appearing there together. So, I mean, we're all on the road together, I guess, is one way to say it. So definitely with the original cast, I'm definitely in contact, especially with Amy and Walter. I'm fortunate too with Amy. I was just in Toronto a couple weeks ago, and before that she was in Los Angeles. She lives in Canada now, and Walter and I are both in LA. So Amy and I get together quite a bit. Walter and I, when we can, when we're in LA, meet each other. Austin lives here in Texas, so I don't see him or unfortunately talk to him that much, but we're all, I would say, connected for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Kind of still your own fraternity just among all of you, just because of that original show.
Yeah, I mean, we went through something more phenomenal together.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, we have a lot of shared experiences, and I think we'll always be connected in some form or fashion because of Power Rangers.
Absolutely.
And that's not a bad thing.
We're getting close to time, but there were a couple of things that I did want to ask you about because, like you said, it's like one of your first roles was Power Rangers, but it's an acting gig. You see what happens where it takes you, but then it just exploded. When was the moment that you yourself looked around and said, "Oh, this is something big"?
I don't think it really, I think we always say this, they would come in and they would tell us, hey, you guys, your show is #1, you're #1, and you don't know what that means. And then after a few months when it started airing globally around the world, they're like, oh my God, you guys are #1 in the world. Still don't know what that means. You're just like, okay, I just want to say my lines and hit my mark kind of thing. But I think for most of us, we didn't really understand how popular or what kind of an impact the show had until in Los Angeles, they had us go to Universal Studios to do like a live performance. And we were just supposed to do one little live performance in a theater smaller than this, that maybe sat 200 people. And so we were there very early in the morning doing a rehearsal. And somebody from Universal said, we're gonna have to move you guys to a slightly bigger theater. So they moved us to another theater and we started rehearsing there. And then like within 45 minutes of that, they're like, we've had to close the gates to Universal Studios and there's a traffic jam in 8 miles in each direction which is unheard of in Los Angeles to have so many people trying to come to see the Power Rangers that we've shut down traffic in 8 miles in each direction. It's pretty wild. And so, and only I think it was like 38,000 people were allowed to be in Universal Studios at that time. So I don't think that's ever been accomplished by any cast ever again. So it's such a huge honor, but that's when we knew like, wow, Power Rangers is a big deal, that so many people were trying to come to see us that we literally shut down Universal Studios where they were at capacity by like 9:30 in the morning. And the Hollywood freeway, as we call it, the 101, is shut down in literally 8 miles in each direction. And then at the end of that day, you go home and we're on the national news and they're like, the Power Rangers shut down, the freeway. And that's an impressive feat to be able to do.
Very well deserved too, if you ask me. Like I said, the work you guys put in was just fantastic.
Just about that day too. I just feel really bad because they would show on the news as well all these poor kids that were sitting in traffic and they didn't get to get into Universal Studios and they were so disappointed in them and they were crying. Oh, it was heart-wrenching to watch. But
had I lived anywhere near LA at that time, I'd probably been one of those kids crying on the highway. So whenever you do conventions and because sometimes your lines are still some of the longest. You can have all these celebrities, but people still want to see you. How does that feel to know that, like you said, they're still popular, it's still loved. But even if it's just you by yourself, you still will have a line down the road of people trying to get your autograph, your photo ops. Is it just still just that great feeling, like to know all these years you're still beloved by so many fans?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really think about it. I'm just here, and I just always feel bad because, you know, I want to give you guys as much time as possible when you do come up to my table. But sometimes it hasn't been too crazy here, but I will say the lines have been extraordinarily long for the last couple of years, and you know, people are waiting 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes, and I feel bad. And then you get to my table and you get like a minute, and I feel bad about that. So far, not too many people complain, but yeah, I mean, it's so humbling, and it's such a huge honor, and I feel very blessed, and it's an honor to hear the stories about how Power Rangers influenced your lives. And it gave you inspiration, it gave people hope, gave people courage to go out and make friends, and because we were such a diverse cast, that it encouraged people to be friends with people that they maybe not have thought that they could be friends with. So, you know, I love that. It's such an awesome part to be a part of that. And so just, again, because for whatever reason, I don't want to jinx it. You know, here we are 30 years later, 32 really, and it's quite amazing, and I couldn't be more honored.
I really, and I know you can say nothing, but to me, I just can't see it really. Maybe, I mean, like a lot of people lose steam, but I think what you guys created originally with the original cast and how it grew, because of how you guys crafted it, how well it was taken. I think that's why each series really can build on what you guys did originally. You guys were the original pillars. I got to speak to Brendan Mejia, maybe this is about 3 or 4 years ago, and he told me how he used to watch Power Rangers, and when he got the chance to audition, he was honored, and then when he got the call, he said the last time he went to Power Morphicon, he was just going to meet Rangers, and the next time he went, he was a Ranger, and that was just crazy for him. So I think you guys just inspired so many people, not just to make friends, but to really believe we could do things that maybe we thought we couldn't do because you guys were doing those things. So I just want to say thank you for that, if nothing else, because I say to this day, if there was one job that I could make real, I could be. It was Power Ranger. That was the one job. Yeah, see, and it wasn't just me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do hear that a lot. Like, that was the dream, you know, when you were a kid. I just want to be a Power Ranger. And then there's people like Brennan that do go after the legit dream of wanting to be a Power Ranger. There's so many actors like that in the franchise.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I know, what is it, Yoshi and Peter, they both were Power Ranger fans as well. So it's a huge honor. They both ended up being Blue Rangers.
Well, Mr. Yost, it has been an absolute pleasure and an honor to speak to you. This is a life goal of mine that has been met. And I think I speak for everyone when I say thanks for not giving up, because you're pretty more phenomenal. Yeah, hey, you guys give me a hand. Give me a hand. You guys, you'll still be here this weekend. Be sure to go to this table, get a picture, get an autograph, and let's just give another big round of applause for Mr. David Yost. Thank you guys so much.
Just FYI, I'll only be here for like another half hour, so if you haven't come down to meet me, please do. I'll be here tomorrow too if you're here, but just for today, I will be leaving at 5:15, okay? Thank you all, I appreciate you more than you can possibly know.